What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., and everything you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update and daily news. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button right now. It's completely free to do so. Remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, thanks so much for hitting the like button for us down below. In this video, we're going to cover a lot of different things. The alarming thing going on here with Russia and Ukraine and what the EU is going to do against them, as well as some new stimulus programs, including one that pays out $1,000 per month, as well as several other stimulus programs here that you might be eligible for. We got a lot to talk about here, so let's jump right in. The European Union Commission president says that Russia will be cut off from international financial markets if it attacks Ukraine. This is really big here because now we have a lot of different countries, including the whole entire EU, saying that they are going to imply financial and significant sanctions, including the US and multiple different countries, against Russia if they invade Ukraine. Check this out. If Russia invades Ukraine, it would, quote, in principle, be cut off from the international financial markets. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, what an interesting name, right? Told Germany's ARD public television late Sunday. Measures would hit, quote, all goods we make that Russia urgently needs to modernize and diversify its economy, where we are globally dominant and they have no replacement. Wow. Quote, it is very clear that if Russian President Vladimir Putin starts a war, we will answer with the most powerful instrument that we have and at the weakest point that Russia has, with economic and financial sanctions. Wow, Russia's clear weak point is an economy based on fossil fuel and energy, she says, with 2/3 of exports being oil, coal, and gas. Remember that Russia is the world's second largest gas and oil exporter. Yeah, so imagine if they're cut off from the entire European Union from being able to sell to them, and the United States and NATO allies as well. She urged Russia to come back to the negotiating table, but affirmed that if Putin picks a quarrel, she will answer with massive consequences. So the question here is that will Putin consider all these different sanctions that all these different countries now, including the entire EU, are going to be putting on Russia? Or are they unreasonable and they're just going to go ahead and do it anyways? Quite the question there, right? Who knows? Because trying to put yourself inside Putin's head is pretty impossible, right? Now the thing is let's just say that he does consider this. Let's say he is actually weighing the options, and he is reasonable. And let's say he does actually say, well, now this is kind of too much. Now we have the EU, we have US, we have NATO, all the NATO countries. They're all going to put sanctions on us, and they're going to basically cut us off from the rest of the world, right? And we'll only kind of have China and a couple other countries in our corner. And all these different sanctions might be too much just so we can go into Ukraine and take it over. And maybe it's too much. Maybe we shouldn't do it. Let's just say they do consider that and they come around to this. If they go that route and you're just kind of thinking this scenario through here, they'd probably have to, again, they don't want to look weak to the world. They'd probably have to kind of string this out for a while, right? They're not just going to pull back in 2 days, right? They'd probably have to play it out for a while, would be my guess, right? You can let me know your thoughts in the comments. So the question is here, now that the Olympics are over, just ended, you know, within the last 24 hours, they're either going to go in and do it, or this could play out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is going to happen? And also, you can see here, Biden agrees to meet with Putin in principle if Russia does not invade Ukraine. Biden has agreed to meet with Vladimir Putin in the coming days on the condition that Russia does not move forward with an invasion of Ukraine, the White House announced last night. As the president has repeatedly made clear, we are committed to pursuing diplomacy until the moment an invasion begins. If an invasion begins, it'll be interesting to see if that happens, what would actually happen afterwards. Press Secretary Jen Psaki said in a statement. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will meet Thursday with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, and Biden, quote, accepted in principle a meeting with Putin following that engagement if an invasion hasn't happened. Psaki said, quote, we are always ready for diplomacy. We are also ready to impose swift and severe consequences should Russia instead choose war. And currently, Russia appears to be continuing preparations for a full-scale assault on Ukraine very soon. And they know this according to intelligence and satellite imagery. Next, we have U.S. Senator, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren. She's got some interesting things to say here. Check this out.
I'd like to urge my Republican colleagues who are taking the time to attend the hearing today to also do their jobs and vote on the 5 outstanding Fed nominees. If you're going to talk to the witnesses today about inflation, for example, then you should be just as motivated to actually fight inflation by making sure that the Fed has all hands on deck. And that means voting these nominees through right now. So let me turn to my questions. During President Biden's first year in office, the economy added a record 6.6 million jobs, more jobs than those added in the first years of the past 4 Republican presidents combined. Workers are benefiting, too, with wages growing at their strongest pace in years. And this is particularly impressive because 1 year ago, many economists were predicting that at this point, we'd still be caught up with high unemployment and slow economic growth as the world struggled to deal with the fallout from the pandemic. But this good news has also brought some bad news, inflation. Now, you might think inflation would also be bad for companies. After all, an increase in the cost of doing business would likely eat into a company's bottom line. But that's not happening. In fact, the CEOs of some of the biggest companies have been bragging to their investors that inflation has created a terrific opportunity for them to boost profits. Take the grocery chain, Kroger. Kroger has seen its business boom during the pandemic, with its stock price rising nearly 40% over the past year. Kroger's CEO recently told investors that, quote, a little bit of inflation is always good in our business, end quote. So, Dr. Boucher, would you agree that it's easier for companies like Kroger to raise prices in an inflationary environment because consumers are generally aware that prices are going up, and that lets companies hide behind inflation to expand their profits?
Well, as you know, Senator, President Biden is very attuned to kitchen table budget issues, and he has been very focused on asking the regulatory agencies to be on the alert for price gouging. And I have in front of me a long list of things that have been happening over the past year on his work to make sure that markets are competitive and fair. But let me just note one, which is that the Department of Justice and the USDA have worked together to set up a website where farmers and ranchers can say where they see problems in their industry. And that's just one of many things. So it's an important issue.
So an important issue, but the point I'm trying to make here is the companies get to kind of draft in behind the inflation. And I take it you agree that that's what's going on here. Okay, so you're nodding your head yes. I'll take that as a yes. Let me go to another example. In a call with investors last week, the CEO of Tyson Foods, one of the big four conglomerates that controls as much as 85% of the meat market, said they've, quote, restructured our pricing approach, end quote, and are, quote, asking them, the consumers, to pay for inflation, end quote. Dr. Bernstein, if all Tyson was doing was raising prices to offset their production costs due to inflation, would you expect their profit margins to stay roughly the same?
Roughly the same, because
Roughly the same.
their price increases would offset their cost increases,
Right.
which would hold their profits
Okay, so their profit should stay roughly the same.
roughly the same.
If that's all that was going on. Of course, that is not what happened. Tyson nearly doubled its profit margin over the year to 11.3%, only the fourth time in the last 30 years that the company has achieved double-digit profit margins. And Tyson isn't making record profits because it is selling more. In fact, it's making record profits because it is charging more. The number of beef products it sold declined 6% over the year, while the price of beef went up 32%. So let's do one more example here. Another phrase we hear thrown around is pricing power. In a recent interview, the CEO of Chipotle said, "We're pretty fortunate with the pricing power that we have," end quote. And that, quote, "if we need to take more pricing, we have room to do it. To date, we've seen no resistance from our customers," end quote. Now, this sounds a lot to me like what Fed Chair Powell said when he was here last month. Big companies are, quote, raising prices because they can. So, Chair Rouse, let me ask you, for those of us who don't speak economist, is it right to say that when executives talk about pricing power, they're referring to a company's ability to raise prices and extract profits out of consumers without worrying about losing business?
I'd say it's fair to say that a company has pricing power when raising prices won't cause them to lose too many customers.
And can I just ask, I know I'm out of time, what is it that gives companies pricing power? Does concentration in an industry give companies more pricing power?
So market concentration does tend to create more pricing power, which is one reason why increasing competition is such an important component of the administration's economic agenda.
Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here that some of this inflation is apparently because of price gouging. And the CEOs of these companies actually somewhat maybe admit it because they have conference calls, stockholder shareholder calls, where they actually apparently say these things. She quoted them. You heard her actually quote some of these CEOs or employees of the companies. She quoted them and literally listed off what they said in their shareholder meetings or their conference calls. Yeah, so yeah, let me know your thoughts here on this. And the question is that will there be something that they can do about this? Yeah, I will keep you up to date here on this. Next up, we got some more stimulus programs being approved here across the country. Here are a couple more going on here. Golden State residents, California residents, can receive, some can, not the whole state, can receive $17,000 in guaranteed income pilot programs. Do you qualify? A new guaranteed income pilot program will soon be accepting applications for people to receive more than a year of free money. This program will target a specific group of adults in California. Eligible West Hollywood residents are encouraged to apply for guaranteed income, also known as UBI, Universal Basic Income. It's basically monthly stimulus checks. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that there's monthly programs like this going on all across the country, and I let you know kind of when they open up in different cities. The city of West Hollywood will soon start their program testing out this program. Applications will be accepted starting Friday, February 25th. A small group of people selected at random from the application process will be eligible to receive $1,000 a month for 17 months. That's $17,000 per person in free money with no strings attached. Wow. And here's the cool thing about this group: participants must live in West Hollywood and be 50 years or older. So it's basically for older adults and for senior citizens. Yeah, really cool there. I'd like to see more and more of those here open across the country here. More and more of that, because we know a lot of senior citizens and older adults here, people on fixed income. We want to see more and more of that. So definitely, let's see more movement on that as well. If you're from West Hollywood, just Google that program and look it up and apply ASAP. Next up, regulators approve a $90 electric bill credit for low-income Mainers, people from Maine. The one-time credit is expected to be applied automatically to about 90,000 customer accounts by March 30th. So an automatic type of stimulus being automatically credited here to 90,000 people in Maine. Really, really cool there. These type of automatic ones are the best because they just show up and you're like, hey, automatic money. Yeah, those are really, really cool. The Maine Public Utilities Commission approved a one-time $90 bill credit Thursday for roughly 90,000 low-income customers of Central Maine Power and Versant Power to help offset increased electricity supply rates. Quote, there's no question this winter has hit a lot of Mainers very hard, and this relief that is being provided by outside sources with no adverse effect on other ratepayers, I think is a win-win, said Commissioner Chair Philip Bartlett during a meeting Thursday morning. The commission voiced unanimous support for the one-time credit, which is expected to be applied to qualified customers' accounts automatically this March. It will be paid for by the Maine State Housing Authority using funds from the Home Energy Assistance Program, or HEAP, for low-income residents. Yeah. Also, there might be more like this coming in other states here. I'll keep you up to date here, like this one. Check this out. Utility debt mounting for New Yorkers looking for help, but there is help available. The state-run Home Energy Assistance Program, or HEAP, for example, in New York, can provide up to $751 towards heat assistance. That's literally like a stimulus check, right? But eligible customers are only those who receive federal food stamps, temporary assistance, or Social Security benefits, or with income and household size factored in. But more than $373 million is available through HEAP. The State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance, which runs the program, has issued about 1.4 million benefits for $208 million since October 1st, 2021 in New York alone. Regular HEAP doesn't cover arrears, but supplemental benefits can. Eligible households can have up to $10,000 paid directly to their heat providing utility company. Wow. That's a lot. I believe that's for arrears. Since September 2022, 104,000 people have received this benefit, with $166 million in arrears paid off just in New York. Wow. The state hasn't even yet finalized the total funding available for this program, according to OTDA. Also, next, I just did a video with all sorts of different type of money that you can get. You really need to watch that next if you haven't watched it. Literally all sorts of different type of programs and money you can get, like these that I just mentioned. And I show you how to apply for them and how to find them in your county and your area First thing you need to do is click the subscribe button down below if you haven't yet. It's literally free to do so. So click it right now, click subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. Remember that new videos come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. I will keep you up to date here. You can click here to watch my newest video next, or you can click here to watch the video I was telling you about with all those additional programs that you need to know about if you haven't watched that video yet. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.